A year ago, I gave A Song of Ice and Fire a chance by reading A Game of Thrones after having mixed feelings on the show, but I was swept away by the writing and immense world building, and so I moved forward with the series, having just recently finished the sequel, A Clash of Kings. Hey everyone, and welcome to the Sandbox for yet another book review. Today I'll be sharing my thoughts on the infamous sequel to A Game of Thrones. I know I'm late to the party on this one, but this past year I've been reading the books and watching the show alongside it, and for the most part I've been really enjoying this journey, although I am in season 6 as of filming this, so I'm definitely taking my time moving into those questionable final seasons. As I did last time, I will avoid heavy spoilers for this series. For those of you who have not given the show or the book series a chance yet. However, because this is such a popular franchise, I will touch upon some story threads. So with that said, let's dive into the review. Starting off with the writing, I didn't notice any major shifts or changes in style or prose in comparison to the first book. This is still a well-crafted novel that explores the fallout of the events from the first book, diving deeper into those themes of corruption, societal classes, and war. I do think this book does some things better than the first, but also some things worse. For one, I think the tone shifts a little from the dark, looming threat of the first as armies and kingdoms begin to clash in pursuit for the Iron Throne, bringing some of those threats to light. Personally, I was more of a fan of the first book's tone, but I can definitely see some people preferring this one's. Secondly, I also think the pacing was a bit stronger with the first one. There are noticeable ebbs and flows within this book. However, none of them overstay their welcome in my opinion. Martin definitely utilizes the multiple points of view to make sure he doesn't lose your interest for too long as he sets up major events to come. Moving on to the story, I do think the premise is a little less interesting than what the first book presented, but I still think that the actual plot itself fully achieved the premise and more. Martin keeps the stakes high with characters, both minor and major ones, dropping dead all around the world and shifting the tides between one chapter and the next. He also supplies more interesting battle scenes here, and in my opinion, he improves his writing with these action sequences, whether they be minor scuffles or big set pieces. For big battles such as the one in Blackwater Bay, he breaks out the scenes amongst multiple chapters and points of view extremely well, building that intrigue and tension. But moving on to the character component, this again is where I think this series strives, delivering such interesting and morally gray characters. He does bring Tyrion further up into the spotlight, making him the lone wolf amongst a pack of monsters. You want to root for him, and yet you also want to see his family lose and get what's coming to them, especially Joffrey and Cersei. The level of manipulation and cruelty that Martin achieves with these characters is truly remarkable. The arcs and journeys that a lot of these characters go on, as well as the lessons that they learn, are really fun to read. Arya on the run and being taken captive in the enemy's stronghold, Jon traveling beyond the wall and running into the wildlings who he's only heard terrible stories of so far, Bran being forced out of Winterfell when none other than Theon ransacks it. These are all such tragic and yet mesmerizing stories. Martin puts a spotlight on the very real and tragic events that took place in medieval times, making some of these scenes hard to read and yet damn near impossible to take your eyes off of. And lastly, this brings me to the world of Westeros and Essos, as there is a ton of world building within this book everywhere you look. Most notably, there is a ton of development for the magic system, showcasing evil sorcerers with the House of the Undying, as well as the Red Woman. There's also the Green Sight, which we see used for good and evil alike, as Martin further establishes the importance of the Three-Eyed Raven with Bran's and Jojen's characters. Dany's dragons continue to grow and serve as a major plot point within this series, and we also get to see Wildfire used in the Battle of Blackwater Bay. The magic still isn't fully fleshed out, but it's getting there and it's raising my intrigue for the next installment. Another world-building aspect that really stood out to me is Martin's ability to not just come up with multiple interpretations for the Red Comet, but to make them fit in so seamlessly with each unique group of people and tie into our main characters' arcs so flawlessly. It really is tremendous what Martin is able to do with this book, and I'm just so excited to move forward with the next one, which I hear is most fans' favorite. As for my rating, I mulled this one over for quite a while. I don't think this one is quite on par with the first book in some respects, but I definitely enjoyed the read. So I'm going to give this one a tentative 8.5 out of 10, with the possibility of moving up after I finish the series and eventually reread this work of art. And for reference, I gave A Game of Thrones a 9 out of 10 with a similar condition. And if you want to check out that review, where'd it go? You can find it somewhere up here. Oh, there it is. We found it. Let me know what you guys thought of this book down in the comments below. Do you agree or do you disagree with my rating? Do you like this one more or less than the first book? And if you've read all 5 currently released books, where does this one fall in your ranking if you have one? As always, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I hope to see you all in the next book review.